Well, you're getting to see me outdoors today, um, in the median in front of the Hanover Towers. The median is very wide. Do you hear the birds? It's so nice out here. We have two streets. One goes north, the other goes south. So I'm in between those two streets in the median. Lots of trees. I'm sitting on one of the metal park benches. They're fairly new. They built a platform, and at each end of the bench are pots of flowers. And I don't know who keeps them watered, but I'm sure they have designated people who take care of these things. The median is a very nice place to just come and sit and read or just to enjoy the outdoors. I'm trying to avoid the sun as much as possible. I also have to wait for cars to go by because they kind of drown out my voice as they go by. So every now and then you may hear me stop right in the middle of a sentence until a car goes on by. I used to come out here a lot. Oh, the birds are just having a ball today. I used to come out here and I used to sit and read, but I don't do much of that anymore. And right now the weather is a little too warm during the day, but the sun is about to go down, and that way it's not quite as hot as it has been. I know everybody's been suffering from the heat all across the country, and but I said, okay, I've waited long enough. I'm going out to the median. I'm going to sit on one of those new benches, and I'm going to tell my story. The problem is, I don't have a story to tell. What do I talk about? Well, as I came through the lobby of the building, two ladies were in one of the side rooms working puzzles. And let me explain about the puzzles. I've been here 24 years. And in that 24 years, I would say, I would venture to guess that a couple thousand puzzles have been worked. But always 3 or 4 ladies. They come in the evenings, usually after they've had dinner or just before they have dinner, and they sit for an hour, 2 hours working these puzzles. You see why I have to stop? The traffic drowns me out. So they work on those puzzles day after day. I have seen so many beautiful puzzles. The 500,000 piece puzzles, they're just gorgeous. If I had a place big enough, I think I would be taking some of those puzzles and getting them framed because they are just beautiful pictures. Today there were 2 ladies. Whoops. I have to move up. The camera slipped on me. Hold on. I'm still with you. Let's see if this works. Okay, I'm back with you now. There were 2 ladies working the puzzle, and these, well, goodness gracious. Okay, I'll just look down at you. You look up at me. Okay, we got into a discussion about the puzzles and the kind of puzzles they're doing, and they're finishing up one now. And they're hoping to get it finished so they can start a new one for the 4th of July. they have a special puzzle for that. So they're anxious to get into doing that puzzle and hoping it will be completed in the next 5 days. I'm anxious to see it. Well, I think the traffic decided to pick this very time to come by, but that's okay. Let you know people are still out and about, and you know it's a busy little place getting off work time. I talked to two of the ladies today, and I should have videoed our conversation. They were so interesting, and they were telling me the history of the puzzles. And I said, you know, this would make a wonderful video. People don't realize how much pleasure there is in jigsaw puzzles. I used to work with them a little bit, but I've gotten kind of lazy lately, and I can't stick with it very long. So I come down and just talk to the ladies, and I learn a lot from these people. They've been here several years, just like I have, and enjoying life here. Now, when I came out of the building, I started down the sidewalk, and I approached this tall, handsome man coming toward me, and we both commented something about the structure of the sidewalk that had been marked off for, I think, replacement. So I just asked, do you live around here? And he said, no, I'm visiting my aunt who lives in Hanover Towers. I said, oh, who is she? And I said, I live there too. And he gave me her name, and I said, oh, yes, I know the lady. And I said, I'm telling you, I was in her apartment before Christmas, and she was getting ready to entertain her family, and it was the most beautiful place I have ever seen. She was going to entertain 33 people for dinner. And so he said, yes, he was there. He was one of those people. So we got into conversation about Hanover Towers, and that's how you meet people. You just stop them, you ask questions, and before you know it, you're in an interesting conversation. So now when I meet the young man, I know who he is and where he's going. So we have a lot of visitors coming and going, visiting family. Mostly parents, grandparents are living here, and the grandchildren are coming to visit. I know I had a subject I was going to go into for this video. It had to do with when I learned how to drive. I was 29 years old, recently divorced, and I didn't know how to drive. I didn't have a car. So, first thing I did, I bought a car. Bought the car before I learned to drive. Well, I needed someone who would teach me to drive. I didn't know anybody. So I was working at the medical center at that time, and one of my co-workers, when I told her I needed to find an instructor, she says, oh, I can tell you exactly where to go. This lady taught me how to drive, and she will be very good. I'll give you her phone number. So I called the lady. Sure, she would come and teach me how to drive. So she came to my house, And she agreed that she would come, I think, once or twice a week, $1.50 a lesson. And the first time she came, she said, "We'll go in my car." I said, "Oh no," I'd already bought that big Dodge Matador that looked like something came from outer space. And I expected to learn to drive in my own car. She said, "No, we'll take my car." Her car was an LTD Ford, brand new. Now, who in the world is going to train a woman who's never driven a car in their own new car? Well, she did. We went about 30 days, and I'd already used up 30 days on my permit. So I only had 30 days to learn. At the end of that 30 days, I was going to go and renew my permit. She said, "No, I think you're ready to take the test." Oh, no, 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 I could never take the test. She said, "Yes, I think you're ready. Take the test anyway before you renew the permit." So that's what I did. Now, she drove me down to the courthouse in her new LTD Ford. And by chance, when we parked beside the courthouse, and the very first parking place on the corner was empty, and we just pulled right into it. She said, "This will make it easy for you, because when you start out, all you have to do is turn the corner and you're on your way." And of course, she had taken me down a couple of times. She said, "I know the route they take. I'll take you over the route so that you'll be prepared and know where you're going to go." So I was really scared, because we're right in the middle of downtown Lexington. And we've got one-way streets, and I'm not that familiar with all of the one-way streets. But in my case, I didn't need to know the street, because the officer that came out to take me on the route was telling me, "Turn left here, turn right there, go straight ahead," that sort of thing. He gave me all the instructions on where to go, what to do. Well, he got in the car with me, and I don't know why I found it necessary to wear the best outfit I owned, which happened to be magenta. You know what color magenta is? It was well, I'm getting the cars today. That they must have known I was going to be waiting for them. So I'm wearing my magenta velveteen two-piece suit. I've got on my patent leather high heels to match. And I get behind the wheel of that car, and my legs are shaking. I am so nervous. And I pointed that out to the officer, as if he cared one way or the other. So the first thing he did, tells me, "Light changes, turn right." I did. I followed his instructions. We got up on a hill. I went up a hill, turned right again, and he says, "Park right up here." Oh boy, you know what that means. I was dreading, really dreading, when he told me to park. Was I going to be able to get in that space? Well, by chance, the car I was parking behind had the empty space, but there was not another car behind it. All I had to do was get the angle of my car going toward the curve, and slide right in because there was no car behind to get in the way. I got turned halfway. He saw I was in the right position, and he says, "That's good enough. Pull out. Go ahead." Okay, I'm safe. We drive over, cross Main Street. We go to Short Street. Short Street, one way, going east. All of a sudden, I see smoke and steam coming out from under the hood of the car. Oh gosh, I didn't know what it was. And I said, "What's happening? What's wrong?" And he said, "I think you've got a busted water hose." Oh goodness. Well, the lady that owned the car was standing back against the courthouse on the sidewalk waiting for us. She saw us pull up, and first thing she saw was all that steam and that smoke coming from the hood of her car. Well, you know, she had to panic, and she came running forward, and we got out of the car, and the officer told her that you need to go have your water pump checked. Well, she jumped in the car, and she takes off, and I'm left standing there with the officer. We go inside the courthouse. He provides me with my new driver's license. I am now a licensed driver at the age of 29. What a relief it was. But the next thing I had was learning to drive that big Dodge Matador that looked as long as a city bus. So he handed me my new license. I walked to the corner beside the courthouse. A city bus pulls up. I get on that bus, and it takes me home. I'm going home on a bus, not in a car. So I get off the bus at the corner of my street. I walk down a half a block, and I'm right in front of my house. Now it's time to drive my car. I've never driven it. I get in the car. I look back over my shoulder because I'm having to back out of the driveway. I look back over my shoulder, and what a shock it was. I said to myself, "Oh my gosh, this car is as long as a city bus." And sure enough, it had those tail fins. I said, all I need are wings, and I'd be flying a plane. I never realized how big that car was, but it was a very smooth driving car. I don't remember how old it was. It was at least 5 years old. So I now had my driver's license. I could drive myself to work every morning. I didn't have to carpool. I'd been carpooling with a lady that drove a Volkswagen, and her Volkswagen did not have a heater or an air conditioner in it. When she would pick me up in the morning to go to work, her car was ice cold in the wintertime. It was so cold, I thought I was going to freeze before we got to work. So I was finally rid of having to spend every morning and every afternoon in the car took about 30 minutes to get to and from work. And that you can get pretty cold in 20 to 30 minutes. So now I had my own big Dodge Matador. Now, if I had kept that car, I kept it a few years, wrecked it once on ice, snow and ice, and had to trade it in for another car. Today, my Dodge Matador is a classic. The next car I bought was a Pontiac Tempest. Now, you've seen the movie My Cousin Vinny. Remember Vinny's girlfriend describing the Pontiac Tempest that had been seen at the scene of a crime? She described that Pontiac Tempest. It was the same car that I was driving. And I watched My Cousin Vinny so many times just to hear her describe my car. I thought that was pretty exciting. Well, come to find out that Pontiac Tempest is also a classic. I traded that car in for let me think, I think the next car was a Chevy Malibu. Guess what? That Chevy Malibu turned out to be another classic. And I can't even remember the next car. Pretty blue, most comfortable car I've ever ridden in. It turned out to be a classic. I don't know how I managed to, and they were all used cars. I never owned a new car. Couldn't afford a new car. But that's the history of my driving lessons, getting my license for the first time. And we could do several videos on how many times I have been in accidents in my cars. They were never accidents that included other people, just me. I'm still here, still healthy, and now I'm driving a Sonata because I wrecked my Toyota and had to get a new car. Still a used car. And I keep saying, before I die, I want to own a brand new car. Well, that's not going to happen because I'm 88 years old now, and I certainly don't want to take a chance on wrecking a brand new car. I'll just hang on to the Sonata and hope it stays safe and I stay safe. Now, you know the history of my driving. Steer clear. That's the best advice I can give you. Don't you love the tree behind me? These are 100-year-old trees. We seem to be getting a good bit of traffic today, which is rare. These people, most of them, live in this neighborhood. I'm going to see if I can pick up my iPad and hopefully hold it so that you can see a little background. Whoa. Behind me. Look at this tree. See how pretty that is? I'm going to turn. Now, these are houses behind me. Look at the grass. Beautiful grass. Keep turning. I'm going to stand up and you just bear with me. Let's see what's back here. Nice house. Okay. I'm not going to walk because I have to use my cane. And I can't take a chance on slipping and falling. This is a simple little video. You can see my glasses up close, I think. Yeah, I'm wearing my rhinestone glasses. Give you a close look at them. And again, I'll tell you, contact eBay or Etsy, and you can order these reading glasses. That's all they are, reading glasses. And you already know I have several pair in all different colors. And I'm just about ready to see if I can find one in animal prints. I love the animal print glasses. I'm going to turn off my video. I just love it out here. It's so pretty. So that's all for today.